Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Workshop Wednesdays. Today I'm going to be installing a railing system. I have used this brand before. This is a Weatherables brand, found at Home Depot. I'm not sponsored by Home Depot. I know last week's Workshop Wednesday was a Home Depot product, and so is this. We happen to shop at Home Depot. I have used Weatherables materials before on putting in a white vinyl privacy fence, and it's good material. It's a little bit of a step up from the Home Depot brand that you just find in the store. You have to order this. This is the Stanford style of railing system, and the reason we're doing this, I should show you exactly what we're doing here. Just come with me over here. So this is our garage, and there's an entrance to the basement from the garage, which is great, and I don't know how they built this house with this situation here, but that's quite a long drop, and there's no railing here at all. That would be very, very bad if somebody fell off there, and my daughter could be severely injured if she had an accident and fell through there. So we are putting this up for safety, safety, safety. So I'm gonna get started. We'll get some stuff unboxed and we'll talk about the product. Okay, let's start off with the parts here. So you've got posts. Posts have holes pre-tapped from the bottom. They do not provide anchors or fasteners because fasteners are going to vary depending on what situation you have. Then that kit comes with instructions, a top cap, and a bottom skirt that, when fitted over it, will cover up whatever fasteners you use down there. I'm starting on a wall, so we purchased an extra kit of sleeves or fasteners that allow each railing to connect into the wall. So I'll put the top railing up here, bottom railing down here, and then the railing pieces will lead to the first post. So I'm going to start by taking this bottom rail and laying it out where it needs to be in the center of this mini wall here where it's going to be fastened to. I want to point out a little manufacturer's defect right here. See that shiny spot? Apparently they chopped it with something, but it's not going to be a big deal. It didn't go all the way through the tube. It doesn't affect it structurally, I don't think. And I'm just going to color it with a black magic marker, call it a day. This is designed so that the bottom rail will sit 2 inches off of whatever surface you're attaching it to. I cut two 2-inch blocks, just some scrap 2x4, so I can lay it out and have it sit 2 inches up where it's supposed to be. They do recommend that in the instructions, so I went ahead and did that. This is the other end where the post is going to go. They say to leave a 1/16 of an inch in between, a little bit of play in here, so you don't scratch the post. These also have, smartly, some little ridges here that allow that to line up in these little grooves on the post, so you're not going to mess that up. So we'll put those on there, and those will line up just nicely right there. Lastly, they provide what is called, or what they call, a foot block, which goes in the center of this bottom rail to give it some support. The foot block consists of just a small piece of metal there. Apparently this screw drops down through there, and this attaches into the bottom of the bottom rail. In the center, of course. You want to center it, make it look nice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It'll go right there. So before I start drilling holes or attaching anything, I'm going to do some measurements and marking to make sure I'm 100% in the center of this bottom plate here. I'll mark my holes over here on the wall where that's going to be attached, and I'm going to make sure everything is plumb and level. So the center of this is going to be 5.5 inches. Now I can go ahead and mark where the screws go. The screws they provide are short and they are self-tapping and they are made to go into the metal posts. So I am not going to use those for securing it to the wall. I'm going to use some probably 2-inch drywall screws. Actually, I found some decent wood screws. I'm going to use those. Pre-drill them first, of course. It's in there good and solid. So now, because that end is in place and I know exactly where it's going to be, I can go ahead and find out exactly where this post is going to be. So we're going to find the center again, which is 5.5 inches. I want this to be square with the bottom plate. Decided to use a black Sharpie to mark this. Try and get as close to the center of these as I can. Put a little dot there. I'm now ready to go ahead and install this foot block in the center of this bottom rail. This rail is exactly 6 feet long, so that's nice. We'll go 3 feet and make a mark. Okay. Found the center of our rail this way and this way. I'm going to use a 3/32 bit and drill a small hole for that screw. So then you take this little plastic piece, you're going to attach it to that hole right there that you just drilled. Now I'm going to take a rubber mallet and we're going to tap that into place. This is just raw metal, so I'm actually going to use one of these scrap pieces of 2x4 that I cut so I don't jack up my, well, they say to tap it in place, but there you go. It really doesn't need tapped. Okay, so now it comes to installing the first post. So what I have here is, and this is going to change depending on what your application is, but I have 3/8 inch by 4-inch concrete screws. These are not Tapcons, they're a lag screw made specifically for concrete. But 4-inch by 3/8 inch, I'm going to use a 9/16 inch socket on my driver. I'm going to drill through the wood. We've got an 1.5 inch plate on top. I'm going to drill through the wood with a 1/2 inch wood drill bit and then finish it off with a 3/8 inch masonry bit to go into the concrete block. I set my masonry bit to exactly the depth that the bolt needs to go in. It doesn't matter which way you turn these. These are exactly symmetrical, but I did make my mark right here on this side, so I'm going to line it up with the mark I already have. All right, that's down. That will not move. There's no force on earth. It's gonna pull that out. Next, very important step. Put this on before you forget it. This is the skirt that covers up those ugly bolts. There, beautiful. Okay, next step is to get this bottom railing in place. We're gonna insert it into our spot over there, all the way in. It just misses the post. We're going to slide our next bracket end piece. It slides right over that. Goes just into place like that, and then that, like I say, it self-centers. It's got these little points there that line up right into that. And we've got our blocks under it, so we know that's 2 inches high. And we're ready to attach it. There we go. Now I can move that out of the way slightly and get a nice straight shot on those. So I'm pre-drilling. These are self-tapping screws, but it makes sense to pre-drill. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line that up. Let's start some screws. Come on, my goodness. The last one's always the most difficult. Why is that not going in? My goodness. Oh, well, we're gonna have extras of these anyway. That melted the end right off of that. That is hot. Broke the head right off of it. Drove it in and broke the head right off of it. Yeah, well, at least that's on the back of the railing. It's holding, I mean, I've got 3 screws in there holding that. Broke the heads off of 2. 2 of those screws broke right off. Melted the end of that one. Self-tapping and melted the end right off of it. I hope they all don't end up like that. All right, next step. Okay, well, I guess I just gotta get over that. Move on. Drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. I did that correct, and it still. All right, so we gotta put these spindles on now. Each one of these spindles goes in one of these little square holes. I'm just going to set them in. Okay, those are all in. Now this is going to determine the height of the top rail. I'm going to put the top rail in place. Just kind of wiggle it a little bit there. Oh, there we go. See? I'm going to make sure that goes all the way down. Now I can tell that is absolutely in place. I'm going to rack this whole rail over enough that I can move it away from the wall very easily. Doesn't hurt anything. I'm going to slide that on there. Okay. Then I'll come down here to the other end, do the same thing again, just rack it just ever so slightly out of the way. Slide that one on there. And that lines up as it should. It'd be nice if I had 2 people. Make sure that is plumb, plumb, plumb. That's perfect right there. And I'm going to slide that over and mark these holes. So now that that is marked, I can lean this over out of the way again, just ever so slightly. Don't want to torque the whole thing. All right, I'm just going to put my hand next to it. And I'm using just standard 2-inch wood screws to make sure this is secure to the wall. That did not hit anything. That one didn't either. That did. That's good. Okay, I've got 2 screws that are going to go into a stud, but those other 2 screws aren't hitting anything. So I'm going to rectify that. Push this out of the way just slightly, just enough. Drill this out. I'm drilling with 1/8 inch bit, so this should be And finally, cap. And there you have it, one finished section of railing right there. This is a 3-foot railing, but of course it's up about a foot on this, so that makes it about 4 feet here. And I feel really good about this. That is really, really strong. That is sturdy. It's going to make that very safe. Of course, I'm going to put one more section over there. This is the most dangerous area. This is death. That would be injury. So anyway, I'm going to get one more piece up and we'll see what it looks like when I'm done. It's pretty much the exact same process. Just do it one more time. So there it is, the Weatherables Stanford style railing kit found at Home Depot. Anyway, a couple of final notes, some things. There was one last step that I didn't show. There's tiny little screw holes here at the ends of each railing, top and bottom, that you put those self-tapping screws in. I did break the head off another of those self-tapping screws. I think the screws just aren't made well enough, or I don't know, they're self-tapping, so you have to use a driver to drive them in. So I don't think I was doing it wrong. Also, so these worked for the first post, went into that concrete block just fine. At the end here, it just didn't work. I don't know if it was, I don't know, just different. I had to drill them out and use lag anchors. I'm sure you know what those are, like they're kind of like lead, and you pound them down into the hole and then you run a lag screw into that. And that worked just fine. Super strong. I think it looks really classy. I think it's a nice looking railing, and it is certainly safer now. And that's the most important part. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope you got something out of it if you're looking to do something like this for a deck or a railing in your garage like I did. And give me a thumbs up if you liked it. And we'll catch you on Saturday morning, 6 a.m. when I'm doing more stuff. See you then.